I am sure at some point you've heard of the Pythagorean theorem. The reason I'm bringing this in is because it uses square roots and it uses equation solving skills. So it kind of fits perfectly with what we've been doing. The ultimate goal and purpose of the Pythagorean theorem is to find the missing side in a right triangle. Now, without trying to get too geometry teacher on this, a right triangle has a right angle in it. So that a nice sharp corner. Let me show you one here. So I've got this nice sharp corner down here. You'll see the little box in the corner saying that that's a 90-degree angle. That's like where the wall and the floor meet, or the floor and the ceiling meet. Okay. The thing that you really need to get out of this, what you really need to focus on, is what's called the hypotenuse. Okay. The hypotenuse is the longest side of the triangle, and it is always the one directly across from the right angle. So it's pretty easy to spot. Okay. The reason why I want you to focus on finding that one is because in the actual Pythagorean theorem, it is the one that is on the far right side of the equation that's all by itself. The other two sides are interchangeable.
Good morning.
Just ignore this.
Today is barbecue chicken
Ooh,
sandwich.
barbecue chicken sandwich.
Again,
Salads.
Barbecue chicken sandwich. Remember to be responsible, respectful, and safe. Please stand and face the flag and make a great day.
Alrighty. Anyway, so the Pythagorean theorem, what it does is it says if you square the two sides of a right triangle, right, the two legs, a squared plus b squared, that is equal to the hypotenuse by itself squared. Okay, so we're going to have to square numbers, solve an equation, and then square root numbers. I'm going to give you two of the three numbers. The equation you set up depends on what two I give you. All right, we're going to do a couple of each. So this little picture here. This is, it's kind of silly, but the hypotenuse is the longest one across from the right angle, just to kind of help you out there. So when I set this up, I need to find the hypotenuse first on all of these. Okay, that lets me know if my hypotenuse is a number or a variable. So when I set up my equation here, I'm going to do x squared plus 33 squared equals 55 squared. See, I know because the 55 is the hypotenuse, that's the one that I can put over there on the right-hand side all by itself. Now, I'm going to be a little lazy with this, to be honest with you. I'm not going to square these numbers just yet. I'm going to leave them as squares. So what I need to evaluate over here, I can do this all at once on my calculator. If you square these and then you're going to subtract them, it just seems like it's an extra step when you can, on your calculator all at once, type in 55 squared minus 33 squared. That's 1,936. Okay, but again, that's not our answer. That's way too big to be our answer. Our answer squared is 1,936. So now we need to switch colors just to illustrate here. We need to square root both sides of this thing. So if I square root 1,936, I get a nice whole number of 44. Okay, 44 yards if you wanted to throw the units in there. I'm not too concerned about that because the units will match what you started with. Okay, so same thing down here. I'm going to set up a new equation. X squared plus 85 squared. Whoops, wrong. 40 squared equals 85 squared. So again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to subtract my 40 squared. I'm not going to square it first. That just seems like an extra step. So now 85 squared minus 40 squared is 5625. So a big number, but again, I'm taking the square root of that. Now, if you notice, you may have noticed, you may not have noticed, I didn't put the positive and negative on these. The reason why I didn't put the positive and negative on these is because you're solving for a side of a triangle. That's always going to be a positive measurement, so I don't need to include the negatives. All right, two more real quick. These I specifically chose because when you go and find that hypotenuse, this is the one that's missing this time. So it changes how you set up your equation just a little bit. I think these are actually easier. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I don't have to subtract anything. My variable's already by itself. So I just need to do 9 squared plus 12 squared. That's 225. But then again, I go back and I square root. X is 15. Okay, same thing on this one. A squared plus B squared. That is my hypotenuse squared. That is 9 and 16, that's 25. So then again, when I go back and I square root both sides, square root, my missing side is 5. Your homework is just that simple. You can, if you're organized enough, kind of set up your equation, and then you can do all of it on your calculator. It's really up to you guys.